Welcome to Navarrero's online showcase video, M.I.A. edition. I am back. Wow, I didn't really expect that to ever happen. I made my whole goodbye video on this save file. I didn't just want to abandon this playthrough, but actually I kinda got tired of Railroads Online as a whole with its current state. But with how things went for me, I came back at some point at which I would have liked to just continue on this playthrough, but in the end, well, performance was abysmal on this one. Well, really, for quite a while, I sometimes got 40 FPS on a good day. Sometimes it would go down to 13 and stay there for quite a while. I think it has something to do with some of the cars, if they are standing around, they are supposed to not have physics calculated for them, but that didn't always happen. So, yeah, if some of my around 400 cars at this point constantly had physics calculated, it's just gonna drain the frame rate like nothing good. But yeah, after that video back then, where I made my 120k, I think it was, I just left the game. I had some signs set up around here for anything that I would want to do in case I came back here. And what can I say? These signs, they are so useful. Way smoother coming back in here, just going into an area, seeing the kind of things that I had planned there, and just continuing from there instead of just having to go around everything and make up my mind again about what I want to do here to begin with. So onboarding, way smoother due to the checklist that I can just work through. And I've already crossed off a few things here, so some of the signs might actually be requiring a removal right here. First up, get 2 class 125s. Well, check. We have them right here. One of them is supposed to be for cordwood. That's the one right here, the deforester. I mean, I'm gonna be using this for the for my cordwood train, so that has 48 bulkhead cars. So I needed something strong, and with the amount I'm transporting all the time, I think that name is just yeah, very fitting. And overall, I also like the worn down look of this engine. I think that's gonna look amazing once we put that to the train. The next one is actually the other one that I was meaning to buy, one for the gold supply. So this is Goldie Splier number 22. And yeah, Splier is just short for supplier. And yeah, it's a more pristine looking engine. I mean, that's for a gold chain is very profitable, so I think it was warranted getting something that looks a bit more well cared for. So yeah, these two need to go to their location. I also need to grab my first class 125. Actually, Goldie Spire is a replacement for that because that other one, which is currently over here, that's supposed to be for the oil train. So I'm gonna be putting this to the gold supply train and getting the one that's on the gold supply train right now back to the crude oil train. But yeah, what can I say? First up, let's get rid of signs here right now because we don't really need them anymore. I'm gonna be still leaving the last one because that's something that I still need to do, but this is a very convenient way of having a set up for like a to-do list. Only problem is that maybe I won't find all of them again, but I hope it's gonna work out. But yeah, overall, this entire thing feels like homecoming again. I mean, these are my engines, this is my yard, that's my supply area set up, this entire thing, this is my spaghet. I mean, look at it. It's glorious. I'm happy to be back, and there's never gonna be another playthrough on this game that will come to anywhere close to what I have here. Not only for the amount of time that I put into this, but also I think just the different operations that we can do here, especially when it comes to stuff like the iron ore mine supply. With how performance is right now, I might actually be able to show you that one time in the future. How this entire area is set up, it's just so special. That's something I don't have anywhere else. So this is something I'm really, really happy to be back at. But yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of that sooner or later. I'm gonna have to see how well it performs once I actually run trains. Just the recording already has a bit of an impact on the game, but right now it's not too bad. So yeah, another thing I want to talk about right now are my finances in game. After all, I made that whole goodbye video where I did the entire gold supply chain in once, and I think I walked away with around 120k. 18k are left, and we are also looking at around slightly over 40k in terms of engines just sitting around here. So where is the other half? Fun thing, I want to take a look at the map. You may have not noticed it, but with one of the recent updates, I don't know when exactly, but here at the Railway Express Agency, they actually added a poker table, and I may have been a bit addicted. Did anybody believe it for a moment? What really happened here? When I did that video, when I got to the Railway Express Agency, when I did the delivery, I looked at the final tally, I was pretty happy with it. I said my goodbyes, I stopped the recording. I may have been in there for another minute or so, maybe just half a minute or so. I don't exactly remember, but I've just had a quick look around like this. Said, yeah, kinda sucks giving up on it, but I'm tired of the game's current state. And then I closed it. I didn't save. The reason I have this kind of money and those two engines to begin with is that after coming back, after doing a few things, I noticed that a lot of my job still has to do, or a lot of the stuff that I want to do here still needs a lot of money. So I started doing the gold delivery again, the same as in the video. So far, I've only gone and bought stuff from the gold mine down to the gold smelter, which by the way also now has a better setup. We are going to see that in a moment. But yeah, this one still has a bit of gold in it, and I would still need to bring it over to the next part in the line. And yeah, that's how I got a lot of the money back, but there's still a lot more to be made. So this is not gonna be the end of my ambitions here. But a nice shot in the arm for all of the additional cars that I want to buy. I want more, just really want more. I want more of water tank cars, I want more engines, I have a whole another thing for my coal mine plant and partially implemented. The one thing I really hate about all of this is that they actually turned this entire map upside down. It's so tough wrapping my head around that suddenly north is south, south is north, west is east, and I don't think they're gonna go back on that because they do as they always do, they mess something up and make that the new standard. It's tiring, it's annoying, but what can you do? It's getting even more weird when I go to Railroad Studio to do something there, and the map is actually the right side up. It's really mind-boggling. If there's ever a mod that just turns this entire thing around by 180 degrees, I would definitely go for that. Will be the same issues as I'm having right now, because at that point I would be used to it, but Jesus Christ, is this annoying what they are doing. Anyways, gold smelter. I don't like how it's zooming in and out. It could really do with another zoom step in between this and the full map. But yeah, I finally redone parts of this entire yard layout. It's still having the class 47 over here, number 21. which still, by the way, has the name. The nameplate is being used for the number and therefore the name that I gave it. I think it's called Gold Digger. The only way to see it is right here. Well, with all the other bugs and the stuff that I already talked about, I don't think that's really worth getting into any further. But yeah, we have some more mail baggage cars over here, 6 of them in total, the same as I had before. And I also came to the conclusion that I would like to have at least some cordwood delivery supplies up here. I don't think I'm going to be doing the same for all of the other stuff. I might be doing that for the water tank cars. After all, this is the only industry on this map that needs water. I don't think I'll be adding anything from the wheat supply stuff. I've done that on Aurora Falls and I've kinda grown tired of it. Otherwise, there are a few places I could put it down. I mean, first up, I could have one industry right here, would likely be the cattle farm. Maybe getting the wheat farm either here or here, and then getting the last farm, the meatpacking plant, somewhere in this area just to fill it out. There are ways to do this. It would be interesting getting a few more not too far away neighbors to different other places that don't really have any direct business with them anyways. But yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Might do that eventually if I ever want to do wheat farm stuff again, but I might just skip out on it. But yeah, currently there are a few bulkhead cars here. I don't know if I want to make them permanent fixtures to this industry. Maybe I would be getting a few more in that case. Right now, I think I got 12. So 12 times 8, I think we're still slightly below 100. Should be 96 or something. But yeah, this would be an option to just keep it like that. Maybe get a few more. But still, with how other things are working out, I might need another few bulkhead cars for other stuff. Like resupplying different supply areas. And also we have a helper engine in here. This is kind of a fun thing. I didn't even buy this. This is Cordy Smelterson. And she was supposed to bring cordwood to the smelter from that entire setup over here. So what happened, and that's kind of a fun thing, I used to have this engine in this place for a while, and eventually I also had the two other class 48s at the oil field, but then decided that I want to go with Heisers instead over there, so I had two class 48s in my yard for the longest time. And then decided it would be a good idea to maybe get two helper engines to the smelter. So I swapped out this thing from the smelter to the main yard and brought in the two originally oil helper engines. So now I have one just for cordwood and one for the other goods, so that I don't need to do all the loading with my road engines anymore. And just being able to be a bit more flexible on that. I still do a lot of stuff with the road engines, but I now have the option to use one of other ones as well. So that's all pretty nice. And in the end, when I came to the conclusion that I want to have a helper engine here, well, this one was already stuck in the yard, so I might as well bring it over here, and that's how that all went. But yeah, apart from that engine's rich history, and I mean, that's another thing about the playthrough here. A lot of engines have that kind of thing going on because the entire thing just grew so long and had so many changes to the yards and to different setups and everything that things were just switched out all the time. And there are a few other engines that have similar stories behind them. Apart from all of that, we just also now finally have a bit of a yard going on. So I think I still have a sign in here. No, I actually got rid of it. It was somewhere in the middle of track right here. We have the sidings, we have the Alpine engine, so this thing should be good to go. I still need to do a bit more testing, bit more like active use of the entire thing here in order to see how well the setup is going to work out, but right now it's looking pretty nice. I would maybe like for some of the sidings to be a bit longer, potentially especially for the cordwood, but it should be working out. The trip over to the logging camp isn't even that far. I mean, there's one over here, there's another one right here. So we could just go straight through here, come around this side, get more cordwood, or go up here and come around to this one. That's all open, that's all functional, and nothing really stopping me. But yeah, I think that's all that I have to say about for this area. I think the extended track up here was in place for quite a while already. So this is just a very shallow grade in order to go up to the higher level, and that's where, of course, you need to deliver the water and the gold ore into. I kind of wish I had it set up a bit differently, because right now if I have some cars over here, like for the water, I could see myself having some that are just being stored over here for a moment. They are a bit awkward to bring around onto the top level, but it's just the thing with the entire industry because of its weird two-level setup there. But apart from that, I think that's all that I can show you guys on this industry. Let's move over to the gold mine again. This is more of a cleanup situation than much of anything else, but I think it's also worth showing. So first up, the track in the back here it has been removed. I used to have a direct connection from the coal mine up there with a lot of zigzaggy switchbacks and that kind of stuff going down here just for more straightforward coal deliveries. Now that I have my my gold mine supplies established here, I think they deliver all of the goods at once, including the coal. I don't need this anymore, and it was kind of a pain to deal with. So I decided not to have that anymore, and I just got rid of it. So this area is now looking a bit cleaner again. Apart from that, the only change I did recently was just a bit for the optics. I decided to kind of double lay this entire track here. So we have some walls down below, but also the bridges with a sidewalk attached, which I think looks really nice. And really, I wish we had the option to just get sidewalks attachable to all of the bridge parts without needing to do something like this. Thankfully, the walls come with the option to not have a track on top, and that's what I used here. Otherwise, if the splines don't line up perfectly, I could see this being a bit of a problem where maybe something could derail, but this should be alright. There's only one set of tracks here and it goes down quite a bit. After all, if I'm delivering stuff from down here up to the gold mine, or bringing supplies from the gold mine for the iron mine down onto the lower level, they kind of need to leave out of the yard and go down this track for a bit, and yeah, sometimes you just have to stop the engine back there and then just go to the front, turn a switch or something, or even now that we have everything else going on here. There's a lot of back and forth. For example, if I come up here with loaded hoppers, I need to stop the front engines which are going further down that line, then I need to come back up here and do other stuff and go to the engines on this end. So that just makes the entire thing a bit more convenient, just having a little sidewalk to come back on. If I don't just use the fly mode anyways, because, well, that's faster. Still, anyways, that's all about this. Let's now talk about the coal mine up there a bit. First up, since we can now place down the bridges at an angle. I decided to go with an angle over here so it doesn't do the weird just flattening out the grade up here when going over the bridge and then re-establishing the grade. This entire thing has been a bit of a dodgy rework, especially here the radius gets very small, but this should all still be alright. After all, the train that I'm using up here consists of two Betsy's and a Waker in between. Or is it a caboose? One of the two, it doesn't really matter. So another thing that I want to talk about, and I think that's the last thing that I did here so far. As I mentioned, and as you've seen, I've got rid of the connection down from the coal mine to the gold mine. But you can also see that there are still track going down here. This has been another huge project, because this entire thing goes a different direction now. Basically, I wanted to just see if my whole supply setup here works still. So that's with my coal mine base camp over here. Goes up and around the mountains and eventually comes up onto the coal mine. And it always was set out to do both types of supplies, so beams and the rails, and also then having another siding for the hoppers here. But the rails never really worked out that well. I had a combined train idea where I would use, I think, 8 of the stake cars for beams and 3 of the smaller stake cars for rails, since that would be delivering stuff at ratio. But the small cars are so flimsy, always derailing, always making trouble, and I just wanted to get rid of them. So this is where this entire thing comes in. I need to go back into fly mode. Let me also just quickly adjust the time of day so that we can see a bit more clearly. I went back to having dynamic time of day instead of just basically freezing it all the time. So this track actually goes down a different side of a mountain. And I think this is a constant 5.5% grade. I should really establish more signs showing the grades, and everything would really help out here and there. And we just come around the back here. Right now we are back in the mine valley. I mean, basically all the mines are here. And yeah, this is a switchback going back down the other direction. This is a bit of even track before we finally continue the descent into madness. And this is something that I'm kind of proud of. We have this bridge going across a crossover point here. So this is the connection point between this side of the entire valley. So basically what used to be the western half but is now in the east, or even western 2/3 of the whole thing. And this is where the coal mine used to be on the original playthrough, on the original industry layout. And then we just have this entire track coming back down further and further into another switchback. And this is where it just gets wild. If you didn't catch on to this connection goes through the smelter because of the rails. And it's just going to be a separate railway in order to only bring up those supplies. After all, if you have 6 normal stake cars filled up with them, then you are good to go for quite a while. So you only need to do supply runs with that every now and again. But yeah, over there I went across the entire track here, and now I needed to find a way to come across it again, because while I start out higher, I have a much steeper grade. The other one is 2% constant, the one on top is 5.5, so of course it's gonna overtake. And I ended up coming up with this idea, just coming across the back here, cutting down through here, and it was definitely a lot of work just trying to get the spacing right to make all of this work. I'm not even entirely sure if this runoff would be long enough for the entire train. But even coming down further from here, we just go around on the inside and then do something that I'm really not happy with. We just cut across in a massive bridge from here and eventually connect back to the track that's actually for the quick way up between the smelter and the refinery. And from here we just go down further into this entire area, and I made another siding here, which is where we would actually store the entire train. And to be clear, this entire train, it would be, and I'm gonna bathe it sooner or later, 2 Ruby basins and 6 stake cars, normal length. That's it. That's the entire train. It's not gonna be any more than that because that's the exact load that I want to transport. 60 rails at a time up to the coal mine, and that's gonna be it. I might maybe add a bit of roof over here, just some of the where do we have the more open engine sheds. That is a bit of a drive-through. I think that would be nice. I kind of wish I could do something like that over here, but if we actually attempt it, there's just too much else going on in this area to make that work. And the amount of rework that would require in order to make this possible, I don't think I'm up for that. But yeah, maybe on this one I could do something with it. So talking about the routing now that we've seen the current state of it, I'm not entirely happy about it. I think this is it's interesting, it's growing on me, it was a pain to implement, but it's not all that elegant. There's definitely another version out there where I just put this track and connect it to this one right here. But in the end, this is the main line, and the other one, as chaotic as it is more industry specific. So I kind of want to keep that separate. So I may not ever be doing anything about this, and the weird double switchback might have to stay. As long as I don't need to extend that end any further, because that's already looking a bit weird, and yeah, it definitely needs a bit more support up here. Once I try out this entire thing with the train, and if it fits up here, the entire thing is likely going to stay. But I definitely have something else that I need to do up here. I don't like how it just cuts across and then does the whole double lining thing here, but also not even in parallel or not even concentrical, but just really goofy and off looking. I think what I'm gonna do, and I'm already made an attempt, but I'll have to figure out a better way of doing this. I'm gonna delete this curve and instead take the track going in this direction, coming around this rather awkward piece of land coming out of here. Or maybe I could go through the back. That might actually work. Maybe I can make something work over here. I think that would look the best. And then I'm just gonna add another switch to maybe around this point here if I can make it work. And basically if I want to go to the coal mine, we are going to come up the same way as to the refinery, but instead of actually going to the refinery, the last bit here is gonna be used as a switchback. So we come up here, we stop the train on the grade, and then we go back to the other direction. I think that's how I'm going to deal with the entire thing here. I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work out, but that little dip in the hillside there is likely gonna be the key to everything making sense in the end. But yeah, that's so far the stuff that I've been working on. Quite a lot of things, quite a few things also still work in progress, but hey, at this point I'm just happy to be back. And to be clear, this was not the only idea for this whole thing either. At some point, this was actually part of a switchback that had the switch somewhere over here, then going down this direction, cutting across here, going further over here, then coming back here because in that direction it's really just gonna be going straight across the valley here. But with how the entire terrain works out, that would have been just a lot of switchbacks that don't really achieve too much. And I didn't want to go the can way and just, what was it, 7, 11 switchbacks, something like that. Yeah, I didn't want to make it that convoluted. Another thing I was considering was maybe after this point, don't turn this into a switchback, but actually have a bridge that goes across here and maybe does a loop over there. It would have worked, but it would have once again be a lot of stilts and I mean, there's a lot of stilts right now. This is looking more and more like a roller coaster, but with this stuff I'm still fine. Also still need to do something to make this look a bit more supported. I didn't do that yet because after all I'm still not entirely sure if I want to keep it around, but as time goes on I think this is gonna be a permanent fixture. Anyways, yeah, that's it from my end for this one. I think the next thing is really gonna be getting a bit more cordwood to the smelter so I can actually get a few rails and then see how the entire supply line works out once I have the train assembled. I mean, I have the money, I just need to buy the entire thing. If frame rate allows it, I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride with me and just see how stupid of an idea this whole thing was to begin with. But yeah, until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.